Spring is starting to show itself. Put a few colors. They'll get nicer yet too. Wait for the sun to shine a little bit. Well, I got reprimanded for that, leaving that course early. I figured I would, but I made my decision, and discussing it was interesting. You know, she thought there were many reasons why I should have stayed, and I asked what they were. Interestingly, it came up that one of the therapists I cover for had sort of requested the course because she likes the technique, and I cover her patients, and this was going to be an opportunity for me to interact with her and learn how to do something that she does for her patients, and I'll cover. And I'll tape her patients when I cover for her. And that was the first I heard of that. But somehow it was a reason that I should have stayed. Like I somehow knew this information, that I needed to learn how to practice as the people I am covering are practicing. I'm not quite sure. I guess there's some sense in that. It would make a lot of sense if the person you were covering was basing their treatment choices based on some sort of evidence. It doesn't make a lot of sense if you're trying to treat somebody else's patient who doesn't base it on evidence. The person I'm covering is a good person. She's nice. She's a good therapist. She gets fine results. Had I known that that was the intent of me being there, I probably would have stuck around. Just had another interesting question for me. That was, well, does everything you need to do have support for it in the literature? I thought that was kind of an interesting question. And I guess, at the time I had said, well, no, not exactly. But the biologic rationale that supports the theory that I'm using has to have support in the literature. I mean, some things aren't tested yet, but at least they're grounded in something that makes sense. Like this taping, as I said before, I'm sure works. Just not for the ideas espoused by the person presenting. And the technique itself is probably rendered largely speculative in that you have to pull the tape this way or cut it that way in order for the technique to work right. And that, to me, anytime you have something that's that technique intensive, it's either completely speculative and unfounded and therefore probably not worth much in terms of spending a lot of my time learning, or the technique has been researched and demonstrated to be effective. And the latter hadn't been true for this particular thing. They came up with an elaborate scheme of why it works, and they tape this way based on that scheme, and then never went about testing to see if it holds any validity. I'm sure that taping helps relieve pain for the short term. I have no doubt in my mind that it probably does. That sounded funny. I have no doubt in my mind that it probably does. Well, I have no doubt in my mind that for some people, taping will work quite well for a short term. But I highly doubt that if I tape them two different ways that are using the same materials in a similar manner, you know, I tape their shoulder this way, they tape the shoulder that way, and it essentially is the same idea of taping, that they'll benefit just fine. So I reassured them I could tape up her patients. But I'm finding a lot of my interactions in the world of PT to be somewhat tedious at this moment in time. Mostly because I don't feel strong enough in my own convictions yet to argue from a knowledge standpoint. Even though that is where I'm at, I just don't feel complete enough to have the unemotional critical arguments. Well, don't have too much to say. Got a couple of patients today. I use modality on. I still use them. I always hate when I do. Mostly because I have no reason to think that the modality is really going to be helpful. I mean, I can justify it biologically and say that it might be helpful, but I know that it isn't going to. Not really. And I hate when I do that. But culturally, people are expecting more from therapy than good advice and smart movements. It seems hard for people to believe that their bodies can heal and that they're probably going to heal in the same time frame as it would take to get a cortisone injection or iontophoresis, for the most part. And it seems to be what's being demonstrated in the literature, that they're good for short-term pain relief. That's about it. And that has its advantage. My opinion is that short-term pain relief is maybe best sought when it overlaps with natural pain relief, natural permanent pain relief. So if your short-term pain relief lasts long enough that it follows on the heels of the natural pain relief, then that wouldn't be such a bad thing. Except for the fact that the patient probably thinks that the pain relief was because of the whatever it is you provided them, rather than following whatever it was we provided them, and it's confusing to people. I really struggle with that. I mean, I value physical therapy. I think I can play an important role. It's just my role is so different than what the culture expects it to be, what science demonstrates it to be, and how it's commonly practiced. If you really critically take a look at it and what I have to offer, it's useful, but the system isn't set up to practice truthfully. The system is set up to make money and to give people something to have hope in while they're healing up. I just don't understand why that's necessary and why we couldn't just practice truthfully. There they are. I think there's another one, I just don't know where it is. Well, I've been waiting for Sasu root birds to go by running. See if I can capture that on video. Just have one more person enjoying the exercise out here. But I don't know where she went to, so we'll see if I do. I thought she'd be coming down the middle, but she didn't. I'll watch my dogs play fight a little bit. Yeah. They're a bunch of goofballs. It's supposed to warm up today, but it's not yet. It's kind of cold. Doing this makes my hand cold. Our elm is dying. I have to decide what to do about that tree. Probably I'll do the same thing that I do to most things that need to be done, and that's sort of nothing. And that things unfold. I can't wait anymore. I got kind of a busy day. Saw our Alice Chalmer today. And roadside cleanup today. And Michelle isn't home. Michelle's in Milwaukee today at a course. quit fooling around. That's a cardinal. Oh, I got some validation yesterday. There are some changes in the Practice Act. Not really too many changes, very few. But they did go through and interpret how the Practice Act is supposed to read at the state meeting. And these are things I had brought to the attention of my previous employer more than a year ago. And basically everything they said validated what I had told them a year ago, and I think that validation is an awfully powerful thing to have. It's important, and people could probably make other people's lives nicer if they would validate them more often. I'm letting Maddie run around a little bit more today. It's surgery day tomorrow for her, and she's gonna have to be on a leash for weeks. So I'm trying to give her a little freedom today. Where'd she go? There she is. You can just see that the oak trees are starting to bud. Well, at least I can, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure you can. It seems like a late spring to me. The last week of April. 27th today. Dogs are always after something. There's a battle going on. Got two tree swallows very interested in, if I can find it, there you are, the bluebird box, but there's a bluebird there already nesting. The bluebirds beat the swallows this year. Last year it was the other way around. Swallows ended up beating the bluebirds, so now we'll see who wins this contest. Clearly upset. Hey, Taper. What do you know? Yeah, what a goofball. Well, Maddie had her surgery, which is why I'm out playing with Tabor. Oh. Maddie's doing fairly poorly. Feeling bad. Not eating, not drinking. But it's only 24 hours. So, I mean, it's not like I expect her to get up walking around or anything. But she's not even eating. I tried giving her everything, ice cream and cheese, and she's mostly uninterested. I'll give her another night, and maybe tomorrow she'll have some appetite. I'm suspicious about whether the surgery is going to be beneficial or not, but I'm hopeful. I'll feel badly if it's not, and she had to go through this sort of rehab. Without a clear benefit anyway. Tom was out working his field. Someplace out there. Oh, I assume it's Tom. There he is. Maybe it isn't. I wonder what he's going to plant this year. Hi, Miss Maddie. We don't have much camera time left, so I'm going to quick show everybody what's going on. Owie, that hurt. Got a little bit of a scar going. Good girl. Alright, I'll quit bugging you. Well, it's really green up with the rain. I like that spring green. Interestingly, we're actually low on rain. They just saw on the news today that it rained 16 of the last 17 days, but the rain amounts have been so small that we're more than an inch below average for the month so far. Well, I guess we're at the end of the month, so for the month. Maddie's starting to recover a little bit more. She showed some interest in eating. She's wagging her tail every once in a while. Well, it's spring. Skunk cabbage is pushing up and moss is greening up. pile over there is where the, hold on, that's where the deer was when we were snowshoeing. Not too much except a bunch of fuzz. I don't really want to go over there. They have Tabor and I don't want them rolling in it. Some wildflowers are starting to come out. You know, there we go. Here's a dog. Watch out to her. Come on. The wild ginger is the flower. Very inconspicuous sort of plant. Won't be long before the trillium will be up. I have to show you some of my favorite trees. Not because there's a mayapple, but I have it in here. It's hard to see it in black and white. I know we're not filming in black and white, but this one right here. Won't be long before that unfolds. Some more. Anyway, these trees right here, just a poplar, but I think they call it a balsam poplar, if I'm not mistaken. That could be. But they smell fantastic. They have a nice, clean, spicy smell to them. The tamaracks are just starting to green up. Not very impressive, but it's just a sign of more growing. Hi, Tabor. He's upset because I took his ball. He wants to play more. Well, Maddie's doing a lot better. She's eating full meals enthusiastically. Hasn't drinking much, but her gut's working. And she's showing some interest in hopping around a little bit, so it'll just be a matter of time now. I think the bluebird won the battle, although he's still being harassed by other birds. His work cut out for him. We've been trying to plant lupine every year. We're getting some to grow. We have such a disastrous amount of knapweed in here that I don't think it's really going to amount to anything ever. Oh. It's May 1st. Michelle has her big run today. 20 kilometers. We're torn with what to do with Maddie. I think we're going to put her in a cage so I can go support Michelle. Come on. But if she feels better running, knowing that Maddie dog at home with somebody, then I'll do that too. Well, it's May 3rd today, and we got 20 degrees on our thermometer. Like I say, it's been a slow spring. A little bit far away, it's a heron. Well, it'll be interesting to see what in our garden survived. We had some spinach growing, and garlic is growing. They didn't cover up last night. Jim and Trish were out last night. It's a bit stormy today, mostly to the south. Taking Maddie on our second walk. Come on, Maddie. Let's go. I mean, we've had her outside. Come on. She likes to eat the grass instead of walk, but the more she walks, she starts sitting her foot down and using it. And she starts to take some steps, and then I'll be back to hopping. There we go. There we go. What a hassle coming back from a surgery. We're pretty dry still. You can see the swamp is already losing all its water. I mean, that's normal for it, but I don't think it does it this early. See if we can find any flowers in here. Some marsh marigolds. We also have some, I believe they're cherry trees versus plum. I'm not very good at my fruit trees. This one has seen better days.